All right, let's get into it. Today, we are tackling one of the most common and, let's be real, one of the most annoying error messages you run into online. We're going to pull back the curtain on the 403 forbidden error, and I promise by the time we're done here, you'll know exactly what it means and why you're seeing it. You know that feeling, right? You're browsing the web, you click a link that looks super interesting, and then, bam, you're completely shut down. It feels like you've just run face first into a digital brick wall. And then you see this. Just two words staring back at you. 403 forbidden. It feels so final. And honestly, it's not very helpful. It's just a big no with zero explanation as to why. Well, that's what we're about to figure out. So let's explore that forbidden feeling. Let's talk about what's actually going on when your browser gets stopped cold right at the front door. Okay, here's the absolute most important thing to get straight right away. A 403 error is not a mistake. It's not a broken link. It's a locked door, and it was locked on purpose. The web page you want to see, it's there, it exists, but something is actively keeping you out. The best way to understand this, I think, is to imagine the 403 error as the internet's own personal bouncer. You know, the guy standing at the entrance to an exclusive club, arms crossed, deciding who gets past the velvet rope. See, the web server, the computer that hosts the website, that's our bouncer. When you try to go to a page, you're basically walking up to the club's entrance. A 403 error is that bouncer taking one look at you, checking this clipboard, and saying, nope, you're not on the list, you can't come in. The party is definitely happening inside, but you're not getting in. Now, this is totally different from that other famous error, the 404. A 403 forbidden means the bouncer is telling you, you can't come in. But a 404 not found? That's like showing up to the address and finding an empty lot. The club doesn't even exist. So one is about permission and the other is about existence. That's the key difference. So, if the bouncer is turning you away, he must have his reasons, right? Let's take a look at the bouncer's little rule book and find out why exactly you're not getting in. It almost always boils down to one of these four things. Maybe the bouncer can't find your name on the guest list. Maybe you're trying to get into the VIP section with a general admission ticket. Maybe the club is for locals only. Or maybe the owner just put you on a blacklist. Let's walk through each one. Okay, the simplest and most common reason, you're just not logged in. Think of it like this. You're trying to get into a private party, but you haven't shown your invitation. The bouncer can't find your name on the guest list because you haven't proven who you are yet. But what if you are logged in and you still get the error? Well, this is like being on the main guest list, but you're trying to waltz past the security guard into the super exclusive VIP lounge. Your access level just isn't high enough for that specific area, like trying to view an admin page or a moderators-only forum. Then there's your location. Some websites have to block content in certain countries, maybe because of streaming rights or local laws. This is our bouncer enforcing a strict locals-only policy. He takes a look at your IP address, which is like your digital passport, sees you're from out of town and says, sorry, this area is for residents only. All right, let's step back from the bouncer and the club for a second and think about the big picture. What does the very existence of a 403 error tell us about the internet? And that brings us to the main takeaway. A 403 error is not a bug. It's not a glitch, and the website isn't broken. It's a rule. It's a feature. It's the system working exactly the way it was designed to, by enforcing a very specific set of rules about who gets to see what. I think this quote just nails it. We kind of like to think of the internet as this huge public library, where every book is available to every person. But the 403 error is a powerful reminder that it's actually more like a giant mansion with countless locked private rooms. And that really leaves us with a much bigger, more interesting question to chew on. A 403 forbidden isn't just a bit of technical jargon. It's about power, access, and control online. So, as more and more of our lives happen in these digital spaces, you have to ask yourself, who gets to be the bouncer? Who decides which doors are open to everyone and which ones stay forbidden?
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a platform that has totally changed the game for small businesses that want to sell online. We're breaking down step by step how you can become a seller on Meesho.
So if you've ever had that light bulb moment, I should sell my stuff online, you've probably also hit that wall of, but where do I even start? You think about all the complicated setups, the crazy high fees, all the rules, it can feel super intimidating, right? Well, what we're looking at today is a solution that was basically designed to smash through all that complexity. And this number right here, this is what changes everything. 0%. That's Meesho's commission rate. It means that for every single thing you sell, you keep 100% of the profit. No cuts for them, no hidden fees for you. This is the big one, and it's why so many people are jumping on board.
So here's the thing. Unlike some of those other giant marketplaces out there where you almost feel like you need a business degree just to get your first product listed, Meesho is built for simplicity. The barrier to entry is super low, which makes it absolutely perfect if you're just starting out or maybe running a smaller side hustle.
Okay, let's get down to business. Before you can start selling, you've got to get your ducks in a row. So this first part is your prep checklist, just the essential stuff you need to have handy before you dive into the registration.
Now, what's really cool here is just how simple these requirements are. You'll need a PAN card, of course, your bank details so they can pay you, and proof of address for the couriers. But look at that second point, a GST number or an enrollment ID. This is a total game changer because it means you don't necessarily have to have a GST number to get started. Huge, huge plus for small sellers. All right, you've got your documents ready? Perfect. Now for the action part. And believe it or not, they say you can get this whole thing done in less than 5 minutes. So let's walk through how you go from nothing to being a fully registered seller. And this just shows you how ridiculously easy it is. You just hop on the supplier site, pop in your phone number, and then you make that key choice about your GST status. After that, you're just plugging in your address and bank info, a quick verification, and boom, you're in. Your seller dashboard is officially up and running.
So, what on earth is that enrollment ID, or EID, we keep talking about? It's really simple. It's just a special ID number that Meesho gives to sellers who don't have a GST number. This lets you sell in a bunch of different categories without having to go through that whole GST registration headache. It just makes things so much more accessible.
Okay, your account is live. The real fun starts now, actually running your store. In this section, we're going to cover the two big things: getting your products listed in a catalog, and then handling the orders as they come in.
Your catalog is basically your digital storefront. It's how you grab a customer's attention. So you want to make sure you're putting your products in the right categories so people can find you. Use clear titles. Seriously, think like a customer. What words would you type into the search bar? And it goes without saying, but competitive prices and really good, clear photos are an absolute must. And what happens when you hear that first cha-ching and get a sale? It's honestly so straightforward. The order pops up on your dashboard, you click to confirm it, pack the item up nice and safe, print the shipping label right from the dashboard, and stick it on the box. That's it, you're done. Meesho's logistics partners show up at your door and handle everything from there. Now, let's talk about the part everyone really cares about, the money. How does it work? When do you get paid? Are there any deductions? Let's break down the whole payment system.
I know we started with this, but it's so important it's worth saying again. This quote nails it. 0 commission. And this isn't some short-term deal or only for special items. It's their entire model. The price the customer pays is the money you earn, period. So when does that cash actually hit your bank account? Well, the payment cycle is just as simple. The clock starts ticking the moment an order is successfully delivered to your customer. 7 days later, that payment is processed and sent straight to the bank account you registered with.
Let's look at a real-world example to make it crystal clear. Say you sell an item for 500 rupees. What do you actually get? Well, the main thing that gets deducted is the shipping fee, since Meesho handles all that for you. So in this example, maybe that's 70 rupees. That comes off the top. And your final payout is 430 rupees. It's super transparent and easy to track. Look, anyone can sign up and become a seller. But actually thriving? That takes a little bit of strategy. So in this last section, we're going to go over some simple, actionable tips and common mistakes to avoid to help you not just start, but really succeed and grow your business. This slide basically gives you the playbook. On the left, you've got the do's, the keys to success. Use good keywords, price your stuff smart, and get those orders out the door fast. On the right, you've got the don'ts, the classic mistakes you want to avoid. Things like lazy listings, slow shipping, or running out of stock. Honestly, getting the do's right is what separates the top sellers from everyone else. And you know, it all boils down to this one idea: consistency. None of these tips are rocket science, right? But doing them day in and day out is what builds real momentum. Shipping fast gets you better ratings. Good packaging builds customer trust. All these little everyday habits are what add up over time to build a really successful online business. So when you think about it, with a super simple setup, 0 commission eating into your profits, and a clear path to get started, the biggest walls have been knocked down. Your own online store is literally just a few clicks away. So the only real question left is,
What are you going to sell first?
Okay, let's talk about something a lot of people are dreaming about. What if you could earn a pretty significant daily income right from your home here in India without spending a single rupee to get started? It sounds great, right? Well, based on expert guidance for 2026, we're going to break down the actual, realistic roadmap to get you there. So let's just dive right in.
1,000 rupees. That's the magic number we're talking about. And look, this isn't just pocket money, right? It's an amount that can genuinely make a real difference in your financial life, day in and day out. But, and this is a big but, hitting that number really depends on three key things.
Yeah, the real magic is in these three things. We're talking about earning this amount every single day, doing it all online. And here's the kicker, doing it with zero investment. That combination, that's what makes this whole idea so incredibly attractive.
And I know what you're thinking, because it leads to the big question, doesn't it? Is this for real? Is this actually possible? Or is it just another one of those online pipe dreams? You know, it's a totally fair question to ask, especially with all the scams out there promising you the moon.
Well, here's the good news. According to the research we're looking at, this goal is absolutely achievable. But let's be super clear. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. No way. It takes consistency, you need the right strategy, and you've got to have a clear plan. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into that plan right now.
All right, first things first. Your first step isn't actually about just finding a job. It's about choosing your path. Think of it like this. There are two main roads you can take to earn online. And the choice you make right now, it's going to shape your whole strategy from here on out.
So it really all boils down to two main categories. You have to ask yourself, am I going to use a specific skill that I already have, or one I'm willing to learn, or am I going to start with simple, straightforward tasks that anyone can do? Let's break down what each of those really looks like.
Okay, so here are your two core options side by side. On one hand, you've got skill-based work. We're talking things like content writing or graphic design. The earning potential here is really high, and honestly, this is how you build a proper long-term career. Then, on the other hand, you have task-based work. You know, things like filling out surveys. The earning ceiling is lower, for sure, but it is the perfect way to start earning your very first rupees online, like today.
All right, so we get the two main paths. Now let's get down to business. Let's get practical. What specific jobs are actually out there that you can start right now with zero investment? Think of this next part as your starter toolkit.
Let's actually look at the numbers here. With skill-based work, something like content writing can pull in anywhere from 500 to 2,000 rupees for a single article. That's pretty amazing. If you've got expertise in the subject, online tutoring pays really well per hour. And hey, if you're a creative person, social media management can give you a nice, stable monthly income from a client. And even the task-based stuff, like microjobs, can still get you a very respectable 300 to 800 rupees a day if you're consistent.
So the big question is, where do you find these jobs? Well, for freelance stuff, you've got sites like Upwork, which is great for finding those bigger long-term clients. Fiverr is more for quick one-off gigs. For the simpler tasks, trusted apps like Swagbucks are a super reliable place to start. Now, if you're more interested in building your own brand, platforms like YouTube and Blogger are incredible free tools. And if you're into sales, reselling apps like Misho literally let you start an e-commerce business without holding any inventory. It's wild.
Okay, wait. Before we go any further, I need you to listen to this because it's absolutely crucial. Our source really hammers this point home. Stay safe. Just burn this into your brain. If any opportunity asks you for a registration fee or worse, your personal bank details, it's a scam, period. Real opportunities pay you. You should never, ever have to pay them. Okay, so we know the paths, we know the tools. Now, how do we actually put it all together? Let's get to maybe the most actionable part of this whole guide. A real, concrete 30-day plan to take you from zero all the way to that 1,000 rupee a day goal.
So here's the roadmap. In week 1, it's all about your foundation. You're learning a skill. You're doing small tasks just to build up some confidence. Then, week 2, it's go time. You're focused on landing your first real freelance clients. By week 3, you're scaling up. Maybe you increase your rates a bit or add another income stream. And then in week 4, you bring it all together, combining those streams to finally hit that daily target. See? It's a step-by-step, totally manageable approach.
And here's what that looks like when we talk about actual money. You start small in week 1, right? The goal is just a few hundred rupees for the whole week. But then, as you build momentum, that daily income goal starts to climb, steadily, until, by the end of the month, that 1,000 rupees a day target is right there, totally within your grasp.
Look, hitting 1,000 rupees a day is an awesome milestone. But What about 2,000 a day? Or what about building a truly long-term stable career? For that, we need to talk about leveling up your skills.
Just think of it like this. Simple tasks give you a steady income floor. It's consistent, but it's low. High-income skills, though, they're like a ladder, or maybe even a rocket ship. They offer scalable, long-term growth. The main takeaway here is really simple. Tasks are fantastic for getting started, but skills are where you build real, lasting wealth.
And you know what the best part is? You can learn these super in-demand skills without spending a single rupee. I'm serious. Our source points to things like digital marketing, graphic design using free tools like Canva, video editing for reels and shorts, copywriting, even basic coding. All the resources you need to learn this stuff are available online for free right now.
And if we look even further down the road, the whole online work landscape is changing. It's evolving. The research points to specialized fields like AI, cybersecurity, and e-commerce as the next big frontier for high-paying online work in India. Just thinking about these trends now can really set you up for major success for years and years to come.
So there you have it. You've got the choice of your path, you've got the tools to get started, you have a 30-day action plan, and even a vision for your long-term growth. The entire roadmap is literally in your hands now. So the only real question left is, what's your first step?
All right, so the source material for today's explainer makes a pretty bold promise: earning a good chunk of money every single day without putting in a single rupee of your own. The question is, can it actually be done? Well, we're about to break down exactly what the source says and how they suggest you do it. And this is the magic number at the center of it all: 500 rupees. And we're not talking about a one-time thing. The claim is that this is a potential daily income. I mean, that's a pretty eye-catching number, right? So let's really dig into how this is supposedly possible. So, what's the big secret? Well, according to the source, the key is an official app from Google itself. Now, that right there is a big deal. It immediately tells you we're not talking about some sketchy, random app you've never heard of, which is always a good sign when you're looking for real opportunities. And let's be super clear about this, because the source makes a really important distinction right away. As you can see, this has nothing to do with betting or gambling apps. It's positioned as a legitimate tool from a company we all know and trust, and that's a critical detail for anyone who's, a bit wary of online scams. Okay, so a totally fair question is, where does this money actually go? The source explains that whatever you earn goes directly into your Google Play wallet. And from there, you can use it for all sorts of things inside that Google world, like buying apps, games, or other digital goodies. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do you actually get this thing on your phone? Well, the source lays out a really simple step-by-step process, and we're going to walk through it together right now. Okay, first things first, you're going to head over to the Google Play Store. The source says to search for Google Opinion RS, which almost definitely means the app that most of us know as Google Opinion Rewards. Once you spot the official app, just go ahead and download it. After it's downloaded, the initial setup is a breeze. You just open the app, click through that first screen, and then log in with whichever email ID you want to use. Right after that, it'll ask you to complete your profile to get started. Now, as you're setting up your profile, you'll just hit continue. Here's a little heads up the source mentions. If you happen to see an error pop up, don't worry, just try clicking continue again. The app is also going to ask for location permissions, and the source has a very specific thought on that. This slide right here really captures the source's main point about why you can trust the app. The direct advice is to go ahead and grant that location permission without even thinking twice. The whole logic is, look, it's an official Google app, so there's really no reason to be concerned about privacy. So, now that you're all set up, let's get to the most important part, right? How do you actually make money with this thing? Well, according to the source, the main way you do it is surprisingly simple. The whole earning system is based on completing these short tasks, which are mostly just surveys. The app gives you some questions, and you get rewarded for giving them your answers. Simple as that. So what kind of deep, complicated questions are we talking about here? Well, here's a little example. They might be as simple as this, but the source makes it clear that the questions you get will be tailored to you, so what you see will probably be different from what I see. And this brings us to a really crucial piece of advice from the source. Just be honest. Whatever question pops up on your screen, just read it and give an answer that's true for you. There are no right or wrong answers. It's all about your opinion.
Okay, this next part is super important because we need to talk about expectations. While the potential to earn is there, the source is really upfront that your first day might look very different from your first week. This slide really lays it all out. When you first start, don't be surprised if you only get a couple of surveys in a day. But, and this is the key, after you've been using it for 2 or 3 days, the source claims the number of surveys you get starts to go up quite a bit. So, the big takeaway here is pretty simple. Patience is everything. The main advice is to just stick with the app, because using it consistently for those first few days is what seems to unlock more and more chances to earn. And if you do stick with it, what's the potential upside? Well, the source projects that if you're consistently hitting that 500 rupee a day mark, it could add up to a monthly income of around 25,000 rupees. It's presented as a really achievable long-term goal if you're dedicated. So, after breaking down all the steps, the method, and the reality of getting started, we're left with this one question. Based on everything we've seen from the source material, now you have all the info to decide for yourself if this is something worth trying out. You know those short, snappy videos you scroll through every single day? Well, what if you could actually turn that screen time into a real income stream? It's totally possible, and today we're breaking down the entire blueprint for making it happen with affiliate marketing reels.
I know, it sounds a little bit wild, doesn't it? The idea that a video shorter than a TV commercial could actually put money in your pocket? Well, that is the big question we're going to answer today, and we're going to break it all down step by step. So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what these reels even are. Then, we'll get our hands dirty with the creative process. After that, we'll tackle the tech side of linking, look at the long-term strategy, and finally, I'll help you dodge some of those common rookie mistakes.
Okay, so before we start making anything, we gotta get the foundation right. What in the world are we even talking about when we say affiliate reels?
At its core, it's actually super simple. You create a short, engaging video about a product you genuinely like. The whole goal is to get people interested enough to click a special link, your unique affiliate link. And if they buy something through that link, boom, you earn a commission. And look, this isn't about making some boring old-school ad. The real magic here is how flexible these can be. Your reel could be a super helpful tutorial, an honest comparison between 2 products, a quick demo showing it in action, or just a spotlight on one amazing benefit. The key is to be genuinely helpful, not just salesy. All right, now for the fun part, actually making the thing. It might sound intimidating, but honestly, we can break the whole creative process down into 4 really simple steps. So it all starts with the product. You want to find something people are actually looking for, a real solution to a real problem. From there, just keep your concept simple. A quick demo usually works great. Then you just film a short video that grabs them right away, and this is the most important part, proves the product's value by showing exactly how it works. In the world of short videos, you have about 3 seconds to stop someone from scrolling. That's it. You need a hook that makes them pause, something direct, benefit-focused, like, this gadget saved me hours every week. That tells the viewer exactly what's in it for them and gives them a reason to stick around. And listen, you do not need to create some epic mini-movie here. The sweet spot for these reels is somewhere between 7 and 20 seconds. Seriously, that's the perfect amount of time to grab attention, get your message across, and get out before they get bored. Keep it short, punchy, and to the point. Okay, so you've made a fantastic reel. Awesome. Now for the most important part, actually getting paid. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty of connecting your video to that affiliate link. Now, this is a huge point of confusion for beginners, so let's just clear this up right now. You can't just slap a clickable link on the video itself. The platforms just don't allow it. But don't worry, there are some really easy and effective ways to get around this. The solution is to point people to the places where links are clickable. The number one spot is your main profile bio. You can use a simple link in bio tool to list out multiple links or even use pinned posts if the platform allows it. Your call to action in the video is as simple as saying, check the link in my bio. Making one great reel is a fantastic start, but if you want to turn this into a reliable income stream, you're gonna need a strategy. So let's look at how you go from just a single post to some actual sustained profit. The absolute foundation for any long-term success here is consistency. One viral video is nice, sure, but a regular posting schedule is what builds a real audience. You got to experiment with different types of content, but more than anything, you have to pay attention to your data. Tracking your clicks and your sales, that's your direct feedback. It tells you exactly what your audience loves, so you can just make more of that. All right, to save you a whole lot of time and frustration, let's talk about the common traps people fall into. Knowing what not to do is honestly just as important as knowing what you should be doing. So let's break down these classic mistakes. Really, it all comes down to a shift in your mindset. Instead of being a pushy salesperson, just be a helpful friend. Don't promote a million random things. Stick to products that actually make sense for your audience. Always focus on solving their problems, not just selling them stuff. And finally, find a schedule you can actually stick with. At the end of the day, authenticity and consistency win every single time. And let's end with this because it's really important. You do not need a $1,000 camera, a fancy studio, or 1 million followers to get started. Your smartphone and a good idea are literally all you need. The platforms often reward good, helpful content, not just big established accounts. So there you have it. That's the blueprint. The only thing standing between you and your very first affiliate commission is one short video post. The only question left is...
You know, when you hear data entry, you probably picture someone just endlessly typing away, right? Well, that's the old way of thinking. Today, we're talking about a field that's been totally remade by technology. And believe it or not, it's now one of the most flexible and accessible side hustles out there for 2026. All right, let's get into it. So, here's the million-dollar question. With all this talk about AI taking over, is data entry even a good side hustle anymore? Is it worth your time? The answer is absolutely yes. But, and this is a big but, it's probably not in the way you're imagining. The reason it's not just surviving, but actually thriving, comes down to these key things. I mean, you've got amazing flexibility, you don't need a fancy degree to start, and it's pretty much always remote work. But the really exciting parts are these last 2 points. AI isn't just replacing people, it's creating brand new AI-supported jobs. And if you find a specialty, a niche, well, that's where you can unlock some serious cash. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to define what this new data entry actually is. Then, we'll dive into finding your niche, go over the skills you actually need in 2026, show you how to spot those pesky scams, and finally, give you a clear roadmap to get started.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the new data entry. Because I really want you to get this. We are way beyond just typing numbers into a spreadsheet now. This is about managing, checking, and organizing information in a world that's completely run on tech.
The data entry specialist of today works with AI, not against it. Think of AI as your super smart assistant. It can do a rough draft of a transcription, or pull all the text from a scanned document, or format a massive data set in like 2 seconds. Your job is to be the human in the loop, to guide it, to review its work, and to make sure the final product is perfect. You're the quality control that AI just can't do on its own. And let's talk money. What can you expect to make? Well, the average range is somewhere between $10 and $20 an hour. Now, listen, that's a baseline. As we're about to see, if you specialize in a certain industry or you master some in-demand tools, you can push those rates way higher. So think of this as your starting point, not your ceiling.
Okay, let's move into Section 2, because this is where things get really interesting. Finding your niche. This is how you go from being just another person looking for a gig to someone with in-demand skills that companies are actively looking for.
Just take a look at the variety on this slide. You've got these really accessible entry-level roles like being a typist or doing transcription, but look over at legal and accounting data entry. The pay range is similar, but see that? They're not considered entry-level. And why is that? It's because they need specialized knowledge. That means less competition and much more stable work if you've got the chops.
And this slide really breaks down that difference. On the left, you have something like transcription. It's a fantastic place to start. You can use an AI tool to do all the heavy lifting, and your job is to come in and make sure it's 100% accurate. But on the right, you have legal data entry. This requires a whole other level of trust. You're not just typing, you're handling sensitive information, so things like confidentiality become just as important as your typing speed.
Or here's another way to think about it. What are you into? Are you a tech person? E-commerce data entry is a huge field. You could be helping a small business on Shopify manage all their products. And that experience, it can lead directly to higher paying roles in things like inventory management or even SEO. Or maybe you're more of a numbers person. Well, accounting data entry is all about invoices and bank records, and you'll get to work inside these incredibly powerful AI-assisted platforms like QuickBooks.
Okay, on to Section 3, the 2026 skill set. So, you've got a niche in mind. Now, what are the tools and skills that are going to make a client pick you over somebody else? This is how you level up from beginner to pro.
First, let's just nail down a key term, OCR. It stands for Optical Character Recognition. Basically, it's the magic that lets a computer look at a picture of a document, like a scanned invoice or a PDF, and turn it into actual text that you can copy, paste, and edit. A ton of jobs involve digitizing old paper records, and knowing how OCR works, and more importantly, how to fix its mistakes, is a huge, huge advantage.
So here's the bottom line. Being able to type fast is just the price of admission. The clients of 2026, they're looking for people who get workflow automation, using tools to make boring, repetitive tasks happen automatically. They want people who can manage customer data in a CRM system and people who are wizards in Excel. But that last one, AI data validation, that is crucial. Can you be the expert human who spots when the AI gets something wrong? That skill alone makes you incredibly valuable.
Let's shift gears to something really, really important in Section 4, how to spot scams. Because look, the remote work world is full of amazing opportunities, but you've got to be smart and protect yourself.
If you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. A real company, a legitimate job, will never, ever ask you to pay for training or for software or for a starter kit. They pay you. You do not pay them. It is the biggest, brightest red flag in the world.
And here are a few more to keep on your radar. Anyone promising you $100 an hour for basic typing with zero experience? It's a scam. Be super careful if they insist on paying you in cryptocurrency, or if they try to get you to move your conversation off of a trusted freelance site like Upwork or Fiverr. Those platforms have protections built in for a reason.
All right, let's bring it all home with our last section, your path to success. We've covered what the job is, how to specialize, what to avoid. Now let's lay out a super clear, actionable plan to get you going.
And this map just lays it out perfectly. It all starts with the basics. Get your typing speed and accuracy rock solid. Then you start layering on those modern skills, learning the common AI and automation tools. You don't have to become an expert overnight. Just start with small jobs on trusted platforms to get some experience and good reviews. Then, once you're feeling good, you pick that niche and specialize to really boost your income. See? It's a totally manageable process.
So we'll end with this question for you. AI isn't the roadblock, it's the opportunity. It's turning data entry from a monotonous task into a dynamic field that needs human smarts and specialized skills. From e-commerce stores to legal offices, the question isn't if there's a place for you, it's which place will you choose to conquer first.
So, you want to earn your first rupee online. It's a goal for so many of us, right? Well, today we're going to look at two completely different ways to get there. One's all about quick cash. The other is about building a real long-term career. Let's dig in and see which one might be right for you. And this is really the big question, isn't it? You go online and it's just this massive sea of opportunities. It can feel pretty overwhelming. The trick, though, isn't to try everything, but to figure out what you're really looking for. And that really boils down to these two mindsets. On one side, you've got the quick cash route. Super low effort, but, the rewards are pretty small. On the other hand, there's career building. This takes skill, it takes time, but it's how you build a real, sustainable business online. Let's start with path number one. Okay, first up, the micro-tasker path. This whole approach is built for speed and simplicity. Honestly, it's probably one of the easiest ways for anyone with a smartphone to get their foot in the door of online earning. The main tool we're talking about here is Google Opinion Rewards. And the key thing to notice is that it's an official app from Google themselves. The deal is super simple. You answer a few quick questions, complete short surveys, and Google gives you money for it, right in your Google Play wallet. Getting started is, ridiculously easy. You just grab the app from the Play Store, log in with your Google ID, fill out a few details about yourself, and that's pretty much it. You just wait for the surveys to start showing up. The whole thing is designed to be as simple as possible. Now, this is the number that makes everyone sit up and pay attention. The source material claims you could potentially make up to 500 rupees a day with this. For just answering a few questions on your phone, that's actually a pretty big deal. But, and this is super important to remember, don't expect to see that cash on day one. You have to be a little patient. The source is really clear on this. When you first start, the surveys might be few and far between. Stick with it for a couple of days, though, and you should see that number ramp up big time. All right, now let's switch gears completely and look at our second path. This one is for the skill-based earner. someone who wants to take a talent they already have and turn it into a real, scalable business. This is the long game. And the platform we're looking at for this path is Fiverr. It's this huge global marketplace where you basically package your skills into these little services called gigs. You can sell pretty much anything, from writing to design to voiceovers to clients literally all over the world. So what kind of skills are we talking about? Well, you've got the usual suspects, of course. Digital marketing, content writing, tech support. But what's really fascinating here is the variety. I mean, look at that. Agricultural data services, that's such a specific niche. It just goes to show you that there's a market for almost any skill you can think of. Now, setting up on Fiverr definitely takes more work. This isn't just downloading an app, you're building a brand. You need a professional photo, a catchy tagline, and a bio that sells your skills. The pro tip here is to find a niche. Don't just be a resume writer, be the person who specializes in resumes for Indian job portals. See the difference? Your gig is your digital storefront. You need a great portfolio to show people what you can do, and your pricing needs to be smart. Those first few 5-star reviews, they are absolute gold.
So what can you earn? Well, a beginner, according to the source, can realistically expect to make somewhere between 5,000 and 20,000 rupees a month. And just remember, that's the starting point. Once you get some great reviews and build a reputation, that number can really, really grow.
Okay, so we've got our two paths laid out. One is a quick sprint for pocket money. The other is a marathon for building a career. Let's put them right next to each other and see the real trade-offs. This table just lays it all out so clearly. With Google Rewards, you need basically zero skill and very little effort. But the trade-off is that the income and growth potential are pretty low. Fiverr is the exact opposite. It demands a lot of effort and real skills. But in return, the income potential is high and you can actually build it into a full-time career. When you look at it visually, you can see that if you were really dedicated to surveys, maybe you could get close to what a beginner freelancer makes. But here's the key difference. For the freelancer, that bar can keep going up and up and up. For the survey taker, there's a pretty hard ceiling on what you can earn.
So we've looked at the what, the how, and the how much for both of these paths. Now it all comes down to a single question you have to ask yourself.
This is it. What is your goal? Are you just looking for a little extra pocket money for your daily chai or your next movie ticket? Or are you ready to put in the work to build something that could one day become your main source of income? There's absolutely no wrong answer here. Only the answer that's right for you. At the end of the day, whether you choose to be a microtasker or freelance pro, your journey into making money online starts right now with this one simple choice. It's time to make yours.
All right, let's crack the code on a problem that stops so many talented people right in their tracks. How to land a remote job when you have, quote unquote, no experience. I know it can feel like this impossible puzzle, but trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have the solution. Let's get right into it.
Does this sound familiar? You're scrolling through job sites, you find what looks like the perfect remote role, and then, bam, you hit the experience wall. That single thought, I have no portfolio, I have no experience, is probably the biggest reason amazing people just quit before they even start. But we have to get one thing straight, and this is the core idea for everything we're about to cover. No experience does not mean no skills. You know, companies today, they care way less about your degree and a lot more about whether you can use modern tools to actually get stuff done. So our mission here is simple. We're just going to reframe the powerful skills you already have.
And that brings us to our very first section, finding your hidden skills. We're going to take what you probably think of as just, life stuff and turn it into powerful, hireable job experience.
Okay, let's look at our first example. The change here is so simple, but so powerful. Maybe in an old job, or heck, even just managing your own life. You've replied to emails, you've organized files, you've scheduled meetings. Don't just brush that off as basic admin. Reframe it. You are a virtual assistance and admin specialist. It's the exact same work. You're just speaking the right language. Here's another one. Did you ever manage a WhatsApp group for a college project or maybe a local club? You weren't just sending messages. You were managing expectations, you were sharing critical updates, and you were keeping a whole group of people engaged and on track. That's not nothing. That is literally the core of what a community manager does. See? Everyday actions are valuable professional skills. And one more, and this is for anyone who's ever been a student. You wrote reports, you wrote college essays, right? Well, that wasn't just homework. That is direct experience in content writing and documentation. You know how to do research, structure an argument, and communicate clearly. That is a super valuable skill that companies are looking for. Okay, so you've found your skills, you've reframed them. Now, where do you aim? Let's talk targets. These are the top 5 entry-level roles that are pretty much always hiring for remote positions right now. So here's a quick snapshot for you. AI data annotation, junior marketing operations, customer success, niche virtual assistant, and content editor. And hey, look at those pay ranges. These are real, solid starting points to get into the remote workforce. Let's zero in on that first one, AI data annotation. We're talking about a pay range of $15 to $25 an hour. Seriously, this is like the new data entry, and it is a massive, massive opportunity right now. So what do you actually do in this job? Well, you'll look at text or images that an AI created, you'll rate how good they are, and then you'll write corrections. You're basically training the AI. But here's the best part. A lot of these companies like dataannotation.tech and outlier.ai, they often skip the whole formal interview. If you can pass their skills test, you're in. All right, next up, junior marketing operations. Now look at that potential pay, $20 to $35 an hour. This is another one of those roles where you absolutely do not need to be some kind of creative genius. The thing is, marketing teams are just drowning in administrative tasks. So in a role like this, you'd be doing stuff like uploading blog posts to WordPress, scheduling tweets, maybe formatting a newsletter. The key skill here isn't big picture marketing strategy. It's just being comfortable with tools like HubSpot or Apollo.io. So now you have your skills and you have your target roles, but how do you actually apply and get someone to notice you? This is where we have to get strategic. Let's talk about the AI application strategy, how to beat the bots. Because here's the reality. If you send a generic resume today, an AI bot, an applicant tracking system, is probably going to reject it before a human being ever even sees it. So our strategy has 3 parts. Master keywords, use an AI rewriter, and build what I call a live portfolio. Let's just see how this plays out. It's night and day. The example on the left is what most people write, I am a hard worker, willing to learn. It's generic and the bots just shred it. The one on the right, though, is packed with keywords that were probably pulled right from the job description itself, like CRM management, Asana workflows, and lead generation. That's the version that gets past the AI and actually lands on a hiring manager's desk. And this brings us to this idea of a live portfolio. This is your secret weapon, I'm telling you. Instead of just telling an employer you have skills, you show them. You could create a really simple Notion page that outlines a plan for a fake company retreat, or write a short article on Medium about something in your target industry. This proves you can do the work before you even get an interview. Okay, so you've got your new resume, you've got your live portfolio. But where should you actually be looking? It's time to stop the endless scrolling and start applying in a way that actually works. So why am I telling you to stop scrolling LinkedIn? Because of this number, 500. A single easy apply job post can get over 500 applicants in just 1 hour. The odds are just completely stacked against you. You got to go where the serious companies are. So where are these serious companies hiding? First, check out We Work Remotely. Companies actually have to pay to post jobs here, and that simple fact filters out a ton of the noise. Second, look at Well-Found. It's all about startups, and startups are often way more willing to hire for potential instead of just a long resume. And third, if you want to be proactive, use a tool like Apollo.io to find and email leaders at smaller companies directly. Before we wrap things up, I have to give you a final and really crucial warning. As you start this journey, you absolutely need to know how to spot a fake remote job. Please take this seriously. First, watch out for the Telegram or WhatsApp trap. A legitimate recruiter is never going to ask you to move the conversation to those apps. That's an immediate giant red flag. Second, the "we'll send you a check" scam. They promise you money for equipment, but that check is going to bounce right after you've already spent your own cash. And third, just be wary of pay that sounds way too good to be true. $50 an hour for simple copy-paste work? It's a scam. A real entry-level remote job will probably pay somewhere between $10 and $25 an hour. So let's bring this all together. The most important thing to take away from all of this is right here. You do not need permission to start working remotely. You just need to pick one skill, update your profile, and start pitching. And that brings us to your challenge. This week, I want you to apply to just 5 jobs, but do it on Well-Found, not on LinkedIn. Use the keyword strategies, build that live portfolio we talked about. You are ready. So my final question to you is, which role are you going to target first?
So you're an Indian freelancer. You already know the freedom is absolutely incredible. But let's be real, the tax rules can feel like a total nightmare. Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to untangle all of that. We're going to break down the key tax rules you need to know for the 2025-26 financial year and turn all that confusion into a clear, solid plan.
You love it, right? The flexibility, the independence, being your own boss, it's the dream. But that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you think about tax compliance, that's real. Today, we're going to change that. We're going to turn that problem into a plan you can actually use.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics, the foundation. Then we'll tackle the big decision you have to make between the old and new tax systems. And listen, I'm going to show you a super common trap that you have to avoid. After that, we'll cover a few other must-knows and wrap it all up with a simple checklist. Sound good?
First things first, before you can even think about filing anything, you've got to understand how the tax department officially sees your hard-earned money. And trust me, it's probably not what you think. Okay, this is probably the most important thing to get. The tax department doesn't see you as an employee with a salary. Nope, they see you as a business. And just that one little shift in perspective, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for how you manage your taxes.
So, because you're a business, you can legally deduct your business expenses to lower your taxable income. We're talking about things like your internet bill, software subscriptions, maybe even a chunk of your rent if you work from home. That new laptop you just bought, you can claim depreciation on it. This isn't a loophole. It's how the system is designed to work for you. It's a total game changer.
All right, now that you know you're a business in the eyes of the taxman, let's talk about your first major decision of the year. Which tax system or regime are you going to choose? This choice can make a huge difference to how much you actually pay. The easiest way to think about it is like this. The old regime is like an a la carte menu at a restaurant. You get to pick and choose from a whole bunch of deductions to customize your tax filing. The new regime, that's more like a set menu. It's simpler, with lower tax rates upfront, but you get far fewer options to choose from.
So here's a look at the old regime. The rates might seem a bit higher in some places, but its real superpower is in the deductions. You can claim so many different things that can bring your actual taxable income way, way down.
And then you have the new regime. At first glance, it looks great, right? More slabs, lower rates. It seems so much simpler. But, and this is a big but, it comes with a major trade-off you absolutely need to know about. And here's the catch. When you pick the new regime, you wave goodbye to a lot of the most popular deductions. We're talking about your PPF investments, life insurance, health insurance premiums, education loan interest, even donations. So if you're someone with a lot of those kinds of expenses, the old regime might actually save you more money, even if its rates look higher.
Okay, everybody, let's pause here. Because what we're about to talk about is, without a doubt, the single most common and most costly mistake that freelancers make. Seriously, getting this wrong can land you in a lot of hot water.
And I'm not exaggerating. Misusing the presumptive tax scheme is the #1 reason freelancers get a notice from the tax department. It's supposed to be a shortcut, but if you use it when you're not supposed to, it's a direct path to underreporting your income and getting a whole lot of unwanted attention. Now, the idea behind the scheme is great. It's meant to make life easier. Instead of tracking every single expense, you just declare your profit as a fixed percentage of your total revenue. It's simple, it's powerful, but you can only use it if you are actually eligible. So for certain types of professionals, the income limit to use this simple scheme, under a rule called Section 44 ADA, is a whopping 75 lakh rupees. But there's a condition. This higher limit is only for you if at least 95% of all your payments come in through digital modes like bank transfers.
But here's the most important part. Section 44 ADA is not for every freelancer out there. It's only for a specific list of professions that the government has spelled out. You know, lawyers, doctors, engineers, accountants. If your job is on this list, great, you can probably use it.
And this right here, this is the trap. So many modern freelance jobs, think content writers, digital marketers, social media managers, are not on that official list. They mistakenly use this scheme all the time, and that creates a huge risk. So please, don't just assume you qualify, you have to check.
Now, for other freelancers who are running a business but aren't on that specified professional list, there's a different presumption scheme. It's called Section 44 AD. The limit here can go all the way up to 3 crore rupees, but again, only if 95% of your payments are digital.
All right, beyond your main income tax return, there are a few other really important things you need to have on your radar to make sure you're totally in the clear.
Let's talk about this number, 20 lakh rupees. This one is non-negotiable. The moment your total annual income from freelancing crosses this mark in a financial year, you are legally required to register for GST. It is not optional.
And for those of you with clients abroad, listen up, because this is crucial. You can't just use Google's exchange rate or whatever you feel like. You have to convert your foreign income using the official State Bank of India rate on the exact day the money hits your account. Get this wrong, and you're reporting incorrect income.
And don't forget about TDS. A lot of your clients will deduct tax before they even pay you. That is your money, already paid to the government for you. You need to go online and check your Form 26AS, think of it like your personal tax passbook, and make sure you claim every single rupee of that credit when you file. If you don't, you're literally just giving your money away.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, so let's bring it all home with a simple, actionable checklist to keep you on the straight and narrow and make sure your tax season is totally stress-free.
Here it is. This is your action plan. Follow these 6 steps. Always classify your income as business income. Run the numbers for both tax regimes to see which one actually saves you more. And please, I can't say this enough, double-check if you're actually eligible for a presumptive scheme before you use it. This checklist, right here, is your path to filing your taxes with confidence.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know the rules of the game, take an honest look at how you're handling your taxes. Is your current approach costing you money? Or maybe worse, is it costing you your peace of mind? Because being proactive with this knowledge won't just save you on taxes, it'll save you a ton of stress. So go on, make a plan and take control.
You post a simple 15-second video online, and almost immediately, those views can start turning into direct revenue. Right now, short-form video on platforms like Instagram and TikTok is the most efficient engine for driving affiliate sales online. You don't need a massive following. You just need to capture attention and point it in the right direction. By the end of this video, you will have a complete blueprint. We are going to build a reel from scratch, from figuring out what to film, to shooting it, publishing it, and placing your tracking links so you actually get paid. Before we start recording, you need 4 things: a smartphone, a physical product you can demonstrate, an active social media account, and a publisher account with an affiliate network like Involve Asia. Setting up this pipeline changes the way you use social media. Instead of throwing content at the algorithm hoping for random hits, you are building a measurable, reliable process that turns regular viewership into a consistent income stream. Step 1 is picking the right product. You want something highly visual that solves a specific, identifiable problem for your audience. Think of a travel gadget that organizes cables, or a digital tool that saves time. Once you know the problem you want to solve, open your affiliate dashboard. Here, you can sort through categories like tech, beauty, or travel to find a brand that fits your specific niche. When you find a product that works, you will generate a unique tracking link for it and copy it to your clipboard. Hold on to this. It is the exact mechanism that ensures you get your commission later. Now, decide on your video concept. You need to pick one focused format. This could be a quick product demo, a before and after comparison, or sharing a quick tip. Keep your script tight. Data shows successful affiliate reels run between 7 and 20 seconds. Pushing past that window risks losing viewers. Do not pack too many items into one video. Pitching a gadget, cream, and bag at once overwhelms viewers, destroying their attention. Keeping your reel locked onto a single, hyper-focused product ensures the viewer actually remembers what it does. That clarity is exactly what prompts them to seek out your link. Step 2 is filming. Everything relies on your first 3 seconds. This is your hook. Start with a clear statement that calls out the viewer's problem. You can say something like, "This gadget saved me hours every week," or "If you create content, you need this tool." Directly after the hook, move into the value phase. Physically show the product in action. If it cleans a keyboard, show the dust disappearing. Prove that it solves the problem you just mentioned. This chart shows the difference between teaching and selling. Sounding like a traditional advertisement makes viewer retention drop immediately. Focusing on an educational demonstration keeps viewers engaged. Providing genuine insights builds trust, naturally moving them toward the next step.
The reel itself is not meant to complete the transaction. Its only job is to provide enough value to earn the viewer's trust, so they click over to your profile. Step 3 is getting your video live. Open your social media app, upload your edited clip, and prepare your caption. Here is the structural constraint of short-form platforms. You cannot put a clickable link directly inside the video player, and links in the caption won't work either. Because of this, you have to tell the viewer exactly where to go. Add a quick verbal cue at the end of your video, or use on-screen text directing them to check the link in your profile bio. Now take that unique tracking link you copied earlier and paste it right into your bio, or add it to your link in bio tool.
Immediately test it. Tap the link on your own profile to ensure it routes correctly to the brand's product page. With your first reel published, your system is active, but a single video is rarely enough. You need to post consistently, testing different tutorials and reviews to start accumulating real viewership data. Log back into your affiliate platform to monitor your performance. This chart shows what happens over time. As your view counts grow, you will see your affiliate clicks and successful conversions rise alongside them. Tracking this data removes the guesswork. Once you see which specific product demos or hook formats generate the most clicks, you simply replicate those styles to scale your results. Your reel is live. Your tracking link is sitting in your bio, and your commission pipeline is officially open for business. The mechanics are straightforward. A viewer watches your demonstration, they recognize the value, they click the link in your profile, and they make a purchase. Your next step is repetition. Find another product that solves a problem for your audience, generate a new link, and film your next 15-second concept. To access the brand directory and get your own tracking links, click the link in our description to register for your free Involve Asia Publisher account. By executing this sequence consistently, you stop scrolling social media as a passive consumer, and you start operating it as an active, scalable digital business.
All right, let's talk about something we all see every day, YouTube Shorts. You see these channels just exploding, right? Pulling in millions, sometimes billions of views. But have you ever stopped and wondered, what does that actually mean for their bank account? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and get into the real story of how Shorts monetization actually works.
Okay, let's just get right into it. I want to ask you a question. Let's say you hit the jackpot. One of your shorts goes absolutely viral, and you rake in 10 million views in a single month, just from ad revenue. How much money do you think that is? Seriously, take a guess. What number pops into your head?
$300. Yeah, for 10 million views. Now, to be fair, some channels might do a little better. Maybe you push it to $600, but for a huge number of creators, this is the reality. And it's this crazy paradox, right? You get these massive views, but the ad revenue is just tiny. So what is going on here?
And that really brings us to our first big topic, the million-view question. We're going to break down exactly why the math feels so, well, wrong. But more importantly, we're going to look at what the smartest creators are doing to build a real income from this anyway.
All right, so before we can even get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers, we got to talk about how you unlock ad revenue in the first place, because you can't earn a single penny until you get into the YouTube Partner Program. So let's look at that first hurdle. How do you actually qualify?
So here's the cool part. YouTube actually gives you 2 different ways to get in, and you only need to hit one of them. You can go the Shorts route, which is 1,000 subs plus 10 million valid Shorts views in the last 90 days. Or you can go the more traditional long-form path, 1,000 subs and 4,000 public watch hours over the last year. You just pick your lane, hit that target, and boom, you're in.
Okay, and this is where things get really interesting, because this is totally different from how regular long-form videos work. See, it's not about an ad running specifically on your short. Instead, think of it like this. YouTube takes all the money from all the ads that run in the Shorts feed and throws it into one giant pot. Then, they take out some costs, like for music licensing, to create what's called the creator pool. Then, they divide up that pool among all the eligible creators based on what percentage of the total views you got. And from your little slice of that pie, you get to keep 45%.
All right, so now we know how the money gets divvied up. So let's look at the hard numbers. And brace yourself, because this is where the difference in earning potential between Shorts and long-form videos just gets, well, kind of unbelievable.
The number you really need to know is called RPM. It stands for revenue per mil, which is just a fancy marketing term for how much you earn for every 1,000 views. And for Shorts, this number is tiny. We're literally talking pennies. Most creators are seeing an RPM somewhere between just 3 and 10 cents.
And this chart really lays out what that means in the real world. You get 1 million views in a month, you're looking at maybe 30 to 60 bucks. And remember that 10 million views we talked about at the beginning? Yep, that puts you right in that $300 to $600 range. Look, it's a nice little bonus for sure, but let's be honest, it's not a full-time living for that kind of insane reach.
And here it is. This is the big aha moment. 1 million views on a short might get you $30, but a totally standard, nothing special, long-form video with that same 1 million views, it could easily earn $2,000. That difference is just staggering. So does that mean you should just give up on shorts? No way, absolutely not. It just means you need a completely different strategy.
And that brings us to what I think is the most important part of this whole thing, building the stack. So if the ad money from shorts isn't the main goal, then what is? Well, let's break down the 7 real ways creators are turning all those views into an actual sustainable income.
You need to burn this idea into your brain. Build the stack, not the RPM. It's a complete mindset shift. It means stop obsessing over the tiny RPM from your shorts ads. Instead, you need to focus on building a stack of different, way more profitable income streams on top of the giant audience your shorts are bringing you. And this is your stack. These are the things that actually move the needle. We're talking brand deals, affiliate marketing, selling your own stuff like digital products or merch, using YouTube shopping, fan funding through memberships and super thanks, all that good stuff. But there's one thing on this list that is by far the most powerful of them all.
And what is it? It's the long-form funnel. Honestly, for most creators, this is the single best move you can possibly make. The whole point of your short changes. It's not about getting paid for that one short anymore. The new goal is to use that incredible reach to get subscribers who then go and watch your long-form videos, because that's where the real ad money is hiding.
Okay, let's get to our final section and really nail this point down. We need to think about shorts as your funnel. This is all about completely redefining what your short-form content is actually for.
And here's the bottom line. The main job of your shorts is not to make you money directly. It's an audience growth engine. That's it. Think of it as the giant, wide-open top of your funnel. Its only job is to suck in a massive number of new people and build a community. Then you can monetize that community in all those other much more profitable ways.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one big question to think about. Your shorts are getting views. You're getting the reach. That's awesome. But what's next? Where are you sending all that traffic? Because having a clear, strategic answer to that question, well, that's the real secret to making